You guys hear me there? All right, there we go. Looks like I had some technical difficulties. What is going on, everybody? Here we are in SIRL Supercross. Heat number 2 is underway in the 450 class. I apologize about that. Like I said, had some issues there. May have to make some adjustments here come the LCQ and main event time. But as I was saying, few names to be watching for. Caden already out to a strong number 1 spot. Coxie and the Normsco SPX KTM in that number 2 spot. Ford Shot, Gurn, and Bechtel right behind him there. Bala, Cloud, and D-Max. Absolutely stacked night here in the 450 class, round 16 in Denver. You guys missed my whole intro spiel then. Pressure, I will be using that sound come main event time. I gotta try and play around with it just a little bit more to get it working. But as we were talking about that, Coxie closing that gap in on Caden on that AEO Canvas KTM. Coxie looking to put on a charge as points are, I believe, relatively close coming here into the final 2 rounds. These guys already breaking almost 5 seconds over the 3rd place of Bechtel. These guys in qualifying as well. Caden, Coxie, some top qualifiers and just top performers that we have seen throughout the weeks. Caden, I believe, a 250 rider, stepping up to the 450s as we change coasts. I said, still, these guys checking out almost 6 seconds now over Bechtel in that number 3 spot. Ford Shot in 4th. Gurn, D-Max, 5th and 6th. Bala in that number 7 position. And Prada actually going to be holding on to that final transfer spot so far with 3.5 minutes left to go. Oh, it looks like Bala may have had a few mistakes. Chunkers and Cloud now battling it out here. These guys wanting to go straight to the main event, not going to that LCQ. There is Joman on that Normsco Yamaha. AC and Chol. I believe AC is Austin Crank. I could be wrong there. We got Ben, Braxton, and Shuley battling it out still. Corner 24, Honda, Chrome Star, SSD, Dr. Geo. Few fast guys here. Jump back out here to our leaders as Caden still riding real strong. Almost a second and a half now over Coxie on that Normsco SPX KTM. Looks like he does still have that red number plate, so that just shows us that he is our points leader still into round 16. We'll get an updated look on those here after this heat. Track has some very tricky sections coming into that whoop section as well. Looks like 2 different lines. Caden blitzing, Coxie jumping his way through. We'll have to see which line stays the most viable. Coxie not letting him get away. No pressure keeping me updated there. I didn't even see that. He is up by 3 points. But as we get into these final few rounds, things are getting tight. We'll have to see. I believe Neon is going to be the man in the number 2 spot in points. So we're going to see him battling it out to try and take that lead from Coxie going into the final round of 17. I believe that is Salt Lake City as well. When Caden, like we were talking about, makes a mistake in the whoops, Coxie actually going to jump over the top of him there. That actually is going to put Coxie now into the lead as we are coming into the final minute and a half of heat race number 2. And Caden making quick work of it, already getting back around the man Coxie. These guys side by side through this rhythm section, going quad double into the turn. Caden down to the inside, Coxie around the outside. Coxie going to wheel tap the on-off. We're going to see here as these guys get closer to the end of this race. Do they get a little crazy, or are they just going to secure a position and get to the main event? Guys absolutely flying. Like I said, almost 12 seconds now over Bechtel in that number 3 spot. Four-Shot still holding the number 4. Prada has moved his way up into the number 5. Gurn in 6th. D-Max into the 7th. Cloud now moved his way into the 8th position, and Joman holding on to that final position there for the Normsco team. And it does look like AC or Austin Crank just holding on to that, or sitting in 10th position, just looking outside. I said not wanting to go to the LCQ here in the 450 class. All of these guys know how to put laps down. These guys already catching some of the lap traffic. Caden having to choose a different line there coming into the long rhythm section. Looks like we don't have any crazy lines being used. Coxie gets a much better drive out of that turn, trying to dive to the inside. These new OEMs have changed up some of the lines that they've had to use. Coxie's going to give him a little bump, say, hey, man, I am still here, and going to slide his way up into that number 1 spot as we have 2 laps to go here in heat race number 2. And there is the white flag. Coxie grabbing the white flag. About 2.5 seconds now over Caden. Definitely some cuts involved there. Coxie just trying to get this bike to the finish line. Trying to take first place here in heat race number 2. Ooh, Caden comes up just a little short. We're going to see if he is able to make his way back into the rhythm. He does. I believe Coxie even messed up the rhythm as well. We're going to see these guys side by side through these last few corners. Not quite sure what just happened to Caden there. I wonder if he just disconnected. But as we're saying it, heat race number 2 going to the man Coxie on that Normsco SPX KTM. Like I said, he is our points leader, so that is definitely going to work well in his favor. I'm not seeing Caden. Hopefully he did not get DC'd, otherwise he will be heading to that LCQ. Four-Shot going to drive Prada deep, actually going to get across the line. So Bechtel into the number 2 spot, Four-Shot in 3rd. Cloud's going to come across the line in 4th. D-Max 5th, Prada 6th. There is Gurn for the number 7 spot. AC and Joman battling it out here. Looks like Joman in 8th, AC in 9th, and 10th place, just missing it, is going to be the man Ben. Unfortunately, Ben's going to be having to head to that LCQ. A couple other riders, like I said, that we need to be watching out for. Chunkers here in that number 11 spot. Braxton in 12th. Dr. Geo. And the man Chol on the Normsco as well. Little rough ride for him there. We have seen him make mains before, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on him come LCQ time. But like I said, big shout out to the man Coxie taking that heat race number 2 win. I believe that is everybody across the line. Like I said, absolutely great race between the top 2 riders there. Like I said, unfortunate ride is Caden actually going to DC. If anybody knows what happened to him there, let us know down in the comments. Coxie out there taking his victory lap. I said those guys over at Normsco always cooking up some great bikes and kits. Bike and gear looking awesome. Drake, we probably won't be doing 250s tonight. Next week is the shootout, so we do plan on getting both 250s and 450s all involved in the stream. Unfortunately, just not enough time to do it all in one shot. So let's go ahead and jump back to the sports booth here. Let me see if I can get my mic figured out over on that booth side as well. All right. So hanging out in the booth now. Looks like the microphone is starting to work. So there we go. As soon as we get some race results from the heat race number 1, we'll go ahead and update as well. Shim in here. What is going on, Shim? How we doing, brother? LCQ Warrior. Hey, man, somebody's got to win the LCQ. Am I right? Got about 13 people hanging out with us tonight. What is going on, everyone? Yeah, unfortunately, Caden's game did crash. Although it's the LCQ, anything can happen. We saw in heat race number 2 there that some unfortunate events has allowed some guys get in that we didn't think were actually going to make it. So it happened to anybody. Hayden's gonna dog walk. All right, looks like we do have heat race number 1 results in. Looks like the man Chase, good friend of ours, seen him here in the chat quite often. Looks like Chase is going to grab that number 1 spot in heat race number 1. Reed with the Finesco in that second position. Coltrane on that AEO actually making his way into the number 3 spot. Portman on that AEO canvas in 4th. Pax with the Sure Visuals in 5th. Seawalk and the Normsco in 6th. Dizzle on the AOMX PPFS FXR. Husqvarna sliding his way into the number 7 spot. Lochi on the Dignity Global. He's going to be in that 8th and grabbing that last qualifying position. SBL on that Race Graphics KTM there. The rest of those guys heading to the LCQ. We see Shim, guy that hangs out here. Oh, yeah, I didn't even notice. Yeah, Neon. Ooh, that could shake things up. Hopefully he's got his stuff together. Hopefully he's not having any disconnection errors. Brock W will probably just be doing 450s tonight. I don't know if time's gonna permit to get both heat races in. It's already 10 o'clock here on Eastern time. But next week, make sure you guys are tuning in. Next week we got the 250 shootout, so we're gonna probably focus in mostly on the 250 class, and then be able to watch both main events. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that. And we're just hanging out, waiting for word from Pressure to see when LCQs are going up. We thinking who's gonna take the win here in the LCQ? Like I said, some big names now unfortunately falling to that LCQ. See if I'm able to actually get that up on screen so we can see that all together here. So just kind of taking a look at our LCQ list here. Wedo, Ben, Shim, Chunkers, MX for life. Dr. Geo, Cheesy, Braxton, SoCal, MX65, Chol, Hotshot, Caden, Lil Mitch, Bala, Honda Chrome Star, Synced. I'm guessing that's how you say that. They're in 15th, Neon in 17th. Corner 24, Zertz, Shuli, and Genobi. Hey Jax, like I was just mentioning, I think tonight we're gonna try and get the pretty much the 450 class here, and then for next week we're gonna kind of focus in on the 250 class as we do have the shootout. So we're gonna just be focusing in on 250s next week. Unfortunately, with just time permitting, not able to run them separately, so kind of nature of the beast that it's going to be that way. I know, at least I think pressure trying to coordinate some things as we get into some other championships and other series that we're going to be able to kind of get all the coverage and as much racing as we possibly can. So definitely make sure you guys are staying tuned. So definitely keep up with that there. Coxie saying 450 championship decider next week though. So hey, we're gonna be watching the 450 mains. I believe pressure. Same thing that we did just the other week. Gonna watch 250 qualifying. Gonna watch 250 heats. Probably LCQs, and then we'll be able to watch the 250 main and then go straight into the 450 main. So. As we're talking about it here, let me see if I can pull up 450 point standings here. As we can see, Coxie only 3 points now over Neon. It is starting to get close there. Yeah, we're definitely going to be seeing as we get into these final few races tonight and next week. We're going to have our decider of who the SIRL Supercross champion is here in the 450 class. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess we could watch 250 LCQ. I mean, what do you guys want to see? Caden in here say, yeah, Caden wants the LCQ. That's him. Yeah, definitely crazy. A few guys missing a couple rounds, still keeping their name up towards the top of this list. LCQ should be going up here relatively soon. Uh, 250 points. Let's take a look here for the West. I do believe. Just pull this up here real quick. For 250 West, taking a look at it here. Looks like Fear Murda about 15 points up over Max. Smuds in that number 3 spot. Brock W in the 4th. Omnipotent in 5th. So realistically, Fear could lock it up tonight, right? He is racing tonight as well, I believe. Yep. Hey man, you got to be in it to win it. I see you definitely missing those 3 rounds. It's definitely unfortunate. You definitely have a lot better chance of getting up to that top step. And then taking a look at 250 East points, we have quite a gap for Panda over Handy Packs there. As we're looking at what a 53-point difference. So it looks like Panda already locked up the 250 East points championship heading into round 17. That shootout doesn't necessarily matter for him. Like I said, already wrapped it up. Guess Handy Packs and Ethan could be battling out for that number 2 spot, and Caden could definitely make his way into a podium position. Ooh, Chase, and he's coming back to win the chip, huh? So where's Chase at? Down here in 10th at 94 points. Hey, if it was possible, I think you'd have it. But unfortunately, you gotta stay in the series a little more than, what is that, 5 rounds? Looks like the announcement did go out. Nope. Yeah, hey, just a heads up, if you guys didn't hear or didn't see the announcement from those guys over on the SIRL side, once you've crossed the finish line, don't keep riding around. Make sure you're just kind of parked either off to the side or just after the finish line. We don't need anybody kind of crossing the track or taking anybody out. So make sure you're stopping the bike. You don't want that to roll across the track and take somebody else out. Damn, Chase, you got a lot of hype up here in the chat to to take this championship. Better get on the grind. Well over 100 points away from the championship, but maybe pressure can make some changes. If you win by over a certain amount. And some updated news as well. LCQs are going up. Neon is actually going to get pushed straight through to the main event. His lap did not count, but had proof on him not cutting or missing any timing gates. That does show that SBL with race graphics will be bumped down to the LCQ. So if you guys know him or if he is hanging out in here with us, make sure you let him know so he can get in and get into that LCQ. But for the time being, let's go ahead and jump back to the booth here as we're getting LCQs underway. Like I said, let me know what you guys think. Should we watch the 250 or 450s? I may only be whitelisted for 4. Seawalk calling 450 there. It looks like only person to speak up there is Seawalk, so that's where we're heading. 450 LCQ. Looks like a couple people not too happy with the decision of letting Neon go straight through, but pressure has spoken, and that's the way it rolls. KTM juniors, please. Hey, I wish that we had some sort of like mini bike or something like that. Like, have your any of the guys out there that have kids, have your kids jump in, just play the game. A little KJSC. Neon apparently had missed a timing gate and had proof that he didn't cut off the track or anything, so he is going straight to the main events. And like I said, SBL with race graphics is heading to the LCQ. So if you guys know him, make sure that he is jumping into the LCQ. Yeah, that Shifty, I don't think that's happening. I've talked about having my old lady jump on as a co-streamer. All right, let's jump on down to the track. A few riders ripping around already as we are getting ready for this LCQ. I said some big names in here: Caden, Chol, Shim, Shuli, Dr. Geo. Just a few names that I see quite often. MX or for life. There's Shim with that 110 MXL gear kit. Ocean calling that Chol's gonna win. As a Normsco rider, I would definitely love to see it. Speaking of Chol, where's Chol at? See if I can get some live timing up here as well. Caden pulls whole shot, but Chol wins. Oh, whoa. I'll be throwing shade on my man Chol. Chol's one of the homies that puts a hell of a lot more time into his work and profession than he does just in the game of MX bikes. Coxie coming in to defend his teammate there. There is SBL. Unfortunately, like I said, not making it straight to the main event. Had to come to the LCQ. He is looking to get his name through. Where is the man Chol? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is Caden's bike right here, that AEO KTM. Looking super clean. And just behind him, gonna be the man Chol on that Normsco KTM, the black and white bike for tonight. Bike looking super clean. Like I said, those guys at Normsco always attention to detail, never making any mistakes. I absolutely love everything that they put out. Same thing goes with the AEO bikes though. These guys absolutely kill it with their graphics. Bike looking super clean. Switching up to that canvas gear as well. I see that shot out there. Ooh. It's a Normsco on that Alpine Star gear. Ooh. Now, Ocean, what if it was the Zen bike? What would you say then? Yeah, I would say both teams making absolutely fantastic bikes and gear sets. Like I said, I would say probably, no offense to anybody else out there, but probably the top two bikes and kits that we see kind of week in and week out. That's a fair statement there. Chase saying that AEO bikes are a bit better, but the Normsco kits got a little more detail in them. Yeah, that the Zin kits I think go crazy. I don't know if you've ever really looked into the details that those guys put into it. Like some of the warning labels and everything they've customized to their own sayings. Cheesy saying his game crash pressure if you didn't catch that. I'd say Matt calling it out there. It looks like the man Fremo, if he's hanging out in the chat, make sure you're plugging your stuff there. They're starting to do some IRL graphics. If you're looking, definitely make sure you hit up Fremo for that. All right, as riders heading down to the gate here for the 450 LCQ, going to slide all the way down to turn 1 here. A long start straight here in Denver for round 16. Top 4 moving on into the main event. Like I said, a couple big names in this LCQ. Who is going to take it? As revs are going up. Gate is down. Ben with a great start. Going to dive to that inside. He is going to grab the hole shot, an early lead here. Dr. Gio in that number 3 spot, but it looks like Braxton going to make a strong drive up into that number 1 spot, getting around Ben already. MXer for life there in the number 3. Dr. Gio in 4. Bala Zertz. Couple names that we weren't really expecting. There's the man Shim. There's a few riders making a few mistakes here early opening laps. Caden already struggling here in the mid-pack. He is definitely going to need some luck on his side to get up into that top 4. Looks like him and Chol battling it out towards the inside there. Oh, and Caden loops it. Chol's going to get tangled up with him. Few riders getting collected. Those are 2 names that we were looking for here in the LCQ. Chrome Star and SoCal getting tangled as well. Like I said, there is Chol and Caden. But as we jump back out front, Ben still out front here. It looks like Braxton did slide back just a few spots. MXer for life now up into the number 2 spot. He is on that AMR PPFS KTM. Braxton and Dr. Gio on the FFR KTM. But he has his hands full with Wedo on the MRM Yamaha. Shim riding strong on that Husqvarna there in the number 6 position. Looking to make his way up through the next 2 guys. We're seeing Caden slowly making his way through. Can Caden put on the charge to get into the top 4 position? These guys already starting to break a decent gap over the rest of the crowd. 3 minutes left here in 450 LCQ. Ben riding really strong. He is hitting that quad double, heading towards the on-off soupy triple. We are seeing Ben starting to gap the rest of the field, but Braxton getting tangled up with Dr. Gio now. That is going to allow Shim and Wedo up another 2 positions. Braxton looks like he did cut around the Super E triple, so he is definitely going to have some cuts in there as well. Ooh, couple riders getting collected. Zertz and Dr. Geo. Unfortunately, Dr. Geo going to catch the short straw of that one going down, and it actually looks like he is going to retire out of the race. They said few names buried in the back that we thought were going to be some race contenders. Ben now 10 seconds over the rest of the field. MXer for life, Wedo and Bala holding on to second, third, and fourth. These three guys are sitting in qualifying positions, but Shim riding real strong in the number 5 spot. Braxton, who was in the qualifying spot, sitting on the outside, and Bala makes a mistake and is going to allow Shim and Braxton around him there. As Shim moving his way now into the number 4 spot, sitting in a qualifying spot. He has his hands full with Braxton, who makes just a little mistake there. Caden, who we thought was going to run away with this one, sitting just outside of it in the number 6 spot, putting an absolutely burner charge to try and catch up to the rest of this crew. Trying to get that AEO Canvas KTM up into the main event. Unfortunately, it looks like we had another rider retire out of there. That is going to be SBL Race Graphics. Unfortunately, he was the guy that got bumped because of Neon there. Caden riding real strong, already trying to make the move on the inside of Braxton. That is going to put him into the number 5 spot. Caden does have 2 seconds of cuts, though. There's definitely going to be something to be mindful of. Shim now making his way up to the rear wheel of Wetton on the MRM Yamaha. Dives to the inside. Is nice to him there. Does not push him too far wide. Both riders swinging around the outside. Caden now up into the number 5 on the rear wheel of Shim here. Is Caden going to get aggressive? MXer for life getting squirrely in the whoops. Shim and Caden come together at the end of the whoops as well. Braxton now going to move himself up into the number 4 spot. These guys absolutely flying, letting everything hang out there. As Braxton and Shim battling it out now for what looks to be that number 5 spot. Like I said, Caden now making his way around the man Wedo. Ooh, Caden with a mistake. Still able to hit that triple out. Not quite sure how he was able to do that, though. Ben on an absolute burner of a race here. Now almost 15 seconds up on the number 2 spot of Wedo. He is definitely making a strong charge, saying, hey, I belong in that main event. Caden does look like he made the pass on Wedo. Caden now grabbing that white flag. Wedo right behind him. Shim actually now moves his way up into that number 4 spot. A couple of these riders have some cuts, and it looks like Shim is one of those guys. MXer for life just trying to stay on his rear wheel. Bala, who we saw in that number 4 spot, looks like he's fallen back through the pack. Wedo makes a little bit of a mistake there. Shim now starting to break a bit of a gap on MXer for life, and he is going to blow off the side of the track. Ooh, I think that might seal the deal for Shim, as we are starting to see that checkered flag come out here for Ben, as he is going to make his way and take the LCQ winner there. He's going to the main event. We are looking 12.5 seconds back now. Caden on that AEO canvas, buried early in the laps, and he's going to come across the line in the number 2 spot. Shim actually getting around Wedo as well. Shim coming across the line in 3rd, Wedo in 4th, and unfortunately MXer for life and Cheesy just missing the main event. Wedo and Shim, what a great ride from these guys. Even though they didn't have necessarily the pace of some of them, they kept the bike up, it stayed consistent, and they are heading to the main event. Like I said, everybody in this class absolutely flying here tonight. Like I said, some big names. Dr. Gio retiring out. Honda Chrome Star retiring as well. Unfortunate night for SBL. Like I said, getting bumped out that one position. Had to go to the LCQ. Did not go his way. Same thing. Chol also, I believe, retiring out of the race. Bala, another one that had a rough race. We saw him up towards the front early on. So great racing from those guys. Absolutely phenomenal race. Like I said, some clean racing. Didn't look dirty at all, and just some great racing for that top four. Go ahead and kick it on back to the booth here as we are getting ready for some main event action. Some heavy hitters here tonight in the 450 class. Definitely going to be a great race. This track breeds great racing. No real crazy lines, so usually everybody stays relatively tight together. Just I would say the whoops is usually going to be the big deciding factor of who is going to do well tonight. Like I said, only a 3-point difference between Coxie and the Norms Co. and Neon. That is definitely going to be a battle to be watching as these guys make their way into the main events. Like I said, I will let you guys know when those go up here as well. Shim calling it out. He said it. He was going to be the LCQ warrior, and he makes it into the main event here tonight. Who do we think is going to take the overall here in the 450 class? Like I said, I really think it could be anybody. See 33 of y'all hanging out in the chat. What is going on, everyone? If y'all don't know me, my name's Special Ed with Special Media. We're trying to build the broadcast booth to be a kind of a non-biased broadcasting booth. Trying to pick up as many series as we possibly can and bring all the MX bikes racing right to you. Make sure you guys check out the VODs after the streams as well if you want to see your name up there. Additionally to that, I am trying to work on getting those posted to YouTube as well. It's under Special Media on YouTube. So if you guys do want to go back and see those, make sure you're checking that out as well. Oh, come on now, Chase. Chase back on the KTM. If y'all don't know, Chase always riding the non-meta bikes, showing that those bikes do work. Just kind of comes down to the rider, but looks like he caved to the pressure and is on the KTM tonight. You guys enjoy the stream. Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button. Like I said too, if I saw it in the chat there, if you guys are annoyed of the ads, things of that nature, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe. Like I said, if you guys didn't know, if you have a Prime account, you get a free sub. Dodge all those pesky ads. Hopefully, as we just kind of continue to keep growing, we're gonna start doing some giveaways, things of that nature. That way, we can keep the viewers entertained and in the action as much as we can as well. Looks like we did have a couple new followers. Appreciate that, guys. As I say, yeah, the the LCQs and bikes, I would say, is the most nerve-wracking part of the entire game. Definitely don't want to be sitting on the outside just hanging out in the special media stream watching the main. You'd rather be in it yourself. Like I said, definitely an exciting week here in Denver. Round 16, 3 points separating our top two guys here in the 450 class. Didn't want to miss any of the action. That's why we are on the 450 class this week. And like I said, next week as we go into the final round at Salt Lake City, we're going to be tuning into mostly that 250 class for the heat races, things of that nature, just because it's the shootout. And then we're going to watch the 250 main, which is going to be ran separately than the 450. And as soon as that 250 class is done, we'll jump on over. Yeah, we'll jump on over to the 450 main and see who's going to wrap up the 450 championship of this SIRL Supercross series. Kind of on that topic, pressure, huge shout out to that man. Always putting on a fantastic show for us to hang out and ride and race. So big shout out to those guys over on the SIRL crew. And then obviously a couple of the guys that make things happen. I know Normsco does sponsor the series, so big shout out to those guys. If you guys didn't know, there's some prizes and payouts at the end of the series. Top three basically for every single one. 450 prize pool is $150. Second, 75. Third is 50. That's going to follow basically through each series. So 250 and 250 or 250 East and 250 West, both having 150 for first place and a championship plaque. Same thing with second and third. Additionally to that, you get some Pro Precision season passes that Crank is donating. So that's going to be to the guys with the most hole shots at the end of the series. Big shout out to Austin Crank for putting that up. Additionally to that, Normsco doing a custom helmet for all of our champions at the end of the series. Speed Photography, the man Dean, he's going to be doing a custom poster for all the champions as well. He does some phenomenal work. If you guys see just my quick little poster in the booth there, you'll see a little tidbit of what he does. He even on his spare time just makes some awesome pictures and posters that I'm really excited to see those final products. And then Cloud Visuals doing edits for all the champions as well. And then Sure Visuals B-Rod, he's doing a fully custom #1 kit for all of the champions. So some big things coming for the top guys here. Definitely have to make sure you're staying in the race. Like I said, next week gonna dictate who is taking home $150, that #1 place or #1 championship plaque. And like I said, all the rest of the stuff that we are seeing, Panda is already locked up that 250 East, but there's still a battle for second and third. Like I said, that is a $25 difference, and the bragging rights between second and third. We are just hanging out, waiting for pressure to get these main events up and rolling. Like I said, I know that man has done his all, and it's been an absolutely fantastic season. Additionally to that, some big names coming here into the main event. Like I said, Chase with the Cold Hearts winning heat #1. Coxie winning heat #2. Reed on that Finesco, Bechtel, Coltrane, Ford Shot, Portman, Cloud, Pax, D-Max, Seawalk, Prada, Dizzle, Gurn, Lochi, Joman, SBL. Ooh, that might have stepped on toes there. I don't think he is going to be making it into the main. AC, Ben, Caden, Shim, and Wedo all heading to there. And like I said, Neon also taking that position. Going to be an interesting one as we get into the The main event. What is going on, Strider? How we doing, brother? Good to see you hanging out in here with us. I did see Pops in here. What is going on? Jim saying he's ready for the MXL AMs. It's another one. If you guys didn't know, we stream every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Sunday nights, obviously hanging out for SIRL Supercross. It's going to be kind of changing gears just a little bit after this championship, so we'll definitely keep up to date on some of the SIRL racing. Additionally to that, MXL, phenomenal guys over there running a pro class Monday nights on 250s and an amateur race on Wednesday nights. And I believe they just added a novice class. Could be wrong about that, but I believe that might be Friday nights. So make sure you guys, if you're looking to get into any more racing, hang out with those guys over on the MXL side. They also do some prizes and things of that nature. So make sure you guys are keeping up to date on some of that. And then Tuesday nights, we do the TPR OCE MX1 class. If you guys enjoy those OCE tracks, those Australian tracks, make sure you guys are jumping into those. Right now, Moto and Pesa and those guys kind of running away with it on that TPR team. So if you think you can run up there with those guys, throw your name in the hat and see what you guys can do. If you guys didn't see, main events are up. We are just loading in, getting things ready to roll here. Just getting the cameras ready. Tonight's going to be just 450s chase. Unfortunately, they're running at the same time. Both mains going up at the exact same time. And then next week we'll be able to watch 250s first, then 450. Like I said, I think moving forward, pressure's trying to schedule it up that we're able to watch pretty much everything and every bit of racing. But at least just 2 more rounds left. No sense of changing everything up. Let me see if I can't get this working here. I got a little bit of a present, I guess you could say, from the man Pressure the other day. Let me see if I can get it working here. All right, let's see if we can grab this real quick. In the meantime, let's go ahead and kick it down to the track. Well, you guys can see yourselves wheeling. Looks like we just got a big pile of, looks like Portman, Caden, Coxey, and Coleman, or Coltrane, sorry, down hanging out in the big pile there. Seeing a couple of those AEO bikes, a couple of the Normsco bikes. I said all those gear kits and everything looking clean. That red and black there, Seawalk, and that white and black KTM looking super clean. think this will work. Pressure, I had to make a few updates to it. Hopefully it doesn't blow everybody's eardrums here. We got the man Shim hanging out there, like you said. What is going on, Splash? I see the man Splash hanging out in the chat. Y'all don't know who Splash is. He's the owner of SPX, name you'll see very often at the top of the leaderboards. He is the man. He does rider coaching. He does suspension work. He's really kind of putting his name out there, and in my opinion, has some of the best suspension and coaching, honestly, that you could possibly find in the game. Right, looks like we got some riders heading on down. Splash. Hey, appreciate that, brother. You got the gifted sub. Looks like Carson is watching without any ads. But as we have the 450 main event getting ready to go underway, these guys absolutely flying. We're going to have to see who is going to be the number one spot as revs are up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SIRL Supercross.
And gate is down. These guys are off. And it looks like it is going to be Bechtel grabbing that hole shot here in the 450 main event. Looks like Coxie with a great start moving his way into the number 2 spot. Coltrane in number 3. Ford Shot, Neon, and Prada all right there. Yeah, no, I was just kind of thinking the same thing there, Splash. It looks like Neon, no sponsors on his name. I don't know what that might be about, but Ford Shot making a mistake, looping it out. It's going to be unfortunate, but as we're seeing here, Coxie on that Normsco SPX KTM moving his way into the number 1 spot over Bechtel on that Slebco CDS K9 Husqvarna. Coxie grabbing that green flag here on lap number 1. Bechtel, Neon, Portman, Prada, Coltrane, Chase, Pax, Joman, Ford Shot. These guys all absolutely flying, all side by side. Few names that we are still looking for. There is Caden buried in the back. Same thing with Seawalk on the Normsco. But his teammate Coxie out front, making it look easy already, about 2 seconds up on Bechtel. And his championship rival Neon sitting in that number 3 spot. Looks like he's going to dive to the inside of Bechtel and gets the pass made. Coxie, like I said, still trying to run away with this thing as he is going to make his way through that gnarly whoop section. Neon as well getting through there. Strong Portman on that AEO Canvas KTM. Gogs and Neon scrubbing harder than the kitchen dishwasher. Coxie with that red number plate sitting in the number 1 spot right now. This is what he needs to do here in round 16. I said only 3 points over Neon. As Neon makes a mistake, somehow doesn't go down, but he is not going to get the rest of this rhythm section. Having to double, makes another mistake. This is going to allow Coxie to break an even further gap on the rest of this crew. I said this whoop section absolutely gnarly. Riders still trying to figure the best way through it, whether it's go wide and blitz. And it looks like Portman, Bechtel, and Neon all going to get collected in the whoops. That's going to allow Prada and Pax to close in the gap here. Prada getting taken out there. Cloud, Ford Shot, Joman great ride here for Joman on that Normsco Yamaha into that number 7 position. There is Prada and Cloud battling it out there for that 7th and 8th spot. Chase on that Cold Hearts KTM. A little bit of a traitor, but absolutely flying here. Moves his way up into the number 2 spot. Neon now making his way into the number 3. Bechtel still sitting in a comfortable 4th. Ford Shot and Prada look like they get collected. That is going to be Cloud, Portman, Pax, Joman, and Coltrane. Joman buried between a few riders on that AEO Canvas KTMs. These guys absolutely flying here. I said these, I would not say there's just an easy win in any of these races. Let me see if I can't get some live timing to see what lap times are looking like. As we are seeing Coxie in the background there, still about 4 seconds over Chase. Apologize for the camera just sitting stagnant here. Said trying to get some lap times up. All right. I said Coxie looking real strong on it. Actually, the fastest rider that has been on the track, though, is the man Neon. That last lap putting a 55.79. And that is followed by Coxie with a 56.48. Looks like his last lap actually a 56.2, so running slightly faster. And Chase running real strong with a 56.3. Does look like Coxie has about 2 seconds of cuts, though. Not sure where he collected those. Hopefully that does not come to bite him towards the end of this moto, as we still have 14.5 minutes left. Said Coxie getting through that whoop section. He has chosen to kind of jump his way through. Neon starting to blitz as well. Chase, I think the fast way is to blitz, but the consistent way may be jumping. These guys absolutely flying here. Chase and Neon trying to put on the charge to catch the man Coxie. Was Neon's trying to make his way around Chase. Neon's starting to get a little impatient, choosing some different lines, seeing if he can find a way around the man Chase on that Cold Hearts KTM. Coxie with a little bit of a mistake that is going to allow these guys to reel him in. Neon not able to hit the triple, but gets the triple out. This race just got a whole lot more interesting. Actually, with cuts, Chase now grabs the number 1 spot on the leaderboard. Neon with a little bit of a mistake there. With these new OEMs, this turn after the whoops and straightaway is definitely crucial. Splash said consistency wins eventually. I said Coxie has been a proof of that, staying with almost every single race this year. Even though he hasn't been winning every moto, he is showing that he has the speed to be up towards the top. Actually, thinking back, I don't know if Coxie has won a single main event, yet he is holding on to that championship. So this could be his first main event win in the SIRL Supercross, coming late as round 16. Must be clicking with this Denver track. He is still wheel tapping, tripling in. But Chase getting hungry, starting to see him there, wanting to get around the man Coxie. These guys still battle it out. We're going to take a look back, see where the rest of our field is, as these guys are absolutely flying, have already broken an 18-second gap on Bechtel, who's riding a very strong ride here in the number 4 spot. Looks like we have Portman on that AEO. Same thing with Caden Coltrane. 5th, 6th, and 7th. Oh, Caden actually must have some cuts there. Caden with 4 seconds of cuts. D-Max on that Bark Bros KTM riding really strong in the 8th spot. Ben, who we saw our LCQ winner. There is Joman, Reed, and AC Austin Crank. Looks like Ford Shot, who we saw riding really strong. Looks like he's going to find himself back in that 13th shim. The man in 14th Seawalk on that Normsco. Going to be in 15th. There we have Cloud, Lochi. Rider I missed there, Dizzle. Going to be back there in 15th, 16th, 17th-ish. There's Coxie and Chase. Coxie does look like he got... Oh, there's right there still, 0.6. Like I said, Coxie's still sitting with about 2 seconds of cuts. Chase was 0. I'm very curious to see if any of these inside lines end up changing to outside lines as the E-Road picks up. Already getting into some lap traffic. Looks like Prada did retire, or Prada got DQ'd, it looks like. Did I miss something here? Coxie now with a commanding lead over Chase. Not quite sure what happened there. Thank you, Cog, for catching that. Looks like Chase made a mistake at the end of the whoops. Like I said, that corner is definitely a tricky one on these new OEMs. Seawalk moving out of the way for the leaders here. As our leaders are coming through, they have already caught up to Cloud, which would be sitting in that 15th position. Coxie still jumping his way through. Sketchy line, but he has made it work every lap so far. Neon starting to see the back of Chase. From Neon back to Bechtel, though, almost 23 seconds now. As our top 3 riders absolutely flying. Coxie still looking very clean out here. Looks like Coxie did pick up another second of cuts, so sitting at 3 seconds now. He is just holding the edge over Chase by 0.06. We know Seawalk doesn't ride like that. He's an honest man. Ooh, Ben making a mistake. Cloud getting by him there. We're going to see if these guys move out of the way for Coxie as he is lapping them, putting them a lap down. Coxie diving to the inside there of Ben. And looks like he checks up, swings wide, lets Coxie go. But we are starting to see Chase remounting his charge back up. Neon still trying to keep his name in the hat here. Coxie looks like he has now put about 1.5 seconds on Chase. This guy's still using those insides. I said those ruts starting to look like they're getting pretty deep. We'll have to see as we get a little later into this moto if things change. Coxie diving to the inside of Shim. Shim sliding out of the way for him. Jim with a good ride, sitting in about 12th position. If that doesn't show you how fast these top guys are going, already lapping into the almost to the top 10. Still almost 7.5 minutes to go here as Chase still working his way through some of the lap traffic. Neon still sitting about 4 seconds off the pace. Neon still holding the fastest lap, though, of the moto. Looks like Coxie's starting to catch up to his other teammate here of Joman. have to see if he's going to choose a different line. He does. Joman goes wide. Coxie's going to hit his triple through the whoops. Dives to the inside. Joman swinging way wide, letting him go by. Coxie absolutely flying, just clicking laps off. Looks like once timing and scoring updates here, still clicking laps almost a second and a half faster that lap. But it does look like Neon has now made his way into the number 2 spot. Chase with a bit of a mistake. Neon takes it up a notch. Actually runs a second faster than Coxie. So Chase now sitting in that number 3 spot. Caden has now made his way into the number 4, has gotten around Bechtel. So even after some of those cuts, making a strong charge. Portman sitting in the number 6 spot. Coltrane moves his way up into the number 7. We are still seeing Neon put on the charge, only 2.5 seconds off of Coxie. As Neon is now caught Joman, Coxie's teammate. Is he going to be a good guy and let him go by? Looks like Neon dives to the inside. It's going to clip the on off just a little bit. When you get to this point, though, it gets tricky. I mean, Joman and Cloud still battling for position, as Joman is the number 10 rider. Chase still not letting him go, though. There is Portman and Bechtel. Portman actually getting around Bechtel now for that number 4 position, or 5 position, sorry. Looking back, there is Reed about to get lapped by Coxie. That is for the number 7 spot. D-Max still on a great ride in 8th. There is Neon and Chase, Cloud and Ford Shot, Joman in 10th, Ben sitting in 14th, and Shim still sitting in that 13th position. There is Neon. Like I said, still absolutely flying. It looks like Coxie was able to respond that last lap. Runs almost about the same lap, if not a few tenths of a second faster. Chase still riding strong, makes a little bit of a mistake there. Coxie now making his way around Reed. When Reed makes a mistake, cartwheels at the end of that whoop section. Looks like everybody's going to get through clean. Coltrane all over Neon now. And Chase falls off just a little bit more. Neon and Coxie, the gap now 2 seconds, are number 1 and 2 in the points overall. 3.5 minutes to go here in the main event, around 16 of Denver. There is the man Coxie. He's got that red plate. They said he's about 3 points over Neon coming into tonight. Still clicking his laps off. Looks like lines are not changing. E-Road not too bad, as he's going to hit that wheel tap in. Blitzes the way, the rest of the way through. Charges down that start straight. That SPX suspension hooking up and going. It's that quad double. Absolutely clean. Is he still wheel tapping? No, he is not. He's just hitting it normally. We saw in that heat race, Coxie was just bouncing the rear wheel off the top of the table. Dives to that inside. It's that double, triple, triple, triple. Still super clean. AC slides out of the way for him. Gurn, little bit of a mistake. Coxie gets through clean. Neon still on that charge, about 2-second difference between these two. That is one little mistake, and it looks like Coxie gets a little sideways in the whoops, but he is able to recover. He's coming into 2 minutes left here in the main event. Where did Neon go? There is Neon. Neon must have had a mistake in the whoop section. Chase actually now moving his way back into that number 2 spot. Putting that Cold Hearts KTM into the number 2. Said Caden still riding strong in that number 4 spot. Bechtel in 5th. Portman in 6th. D-Max on that Bark Bros KTM in 7th. Reed on the Finesco in 8th. Coltrane on the AEO Canvas team in 9th. Shim making his way now into the number 10 spot. Great ride for Shim there. Ford Shot, Cloud. These guys got a couple of cuts. That's going to be showing 11th and 12th. Ben in 13th there. Joman had a few little mistakes. Going to slide back into the 14th. Dizzle in 15th. Seawalk in 16th. Wedo, who we saw in that LCQ, in 17th. AC, the man on the PPFS. He is sitting in 18th. Gurn in 19th. And the rest of the field retiring out. Looks like Coxie now back to about a 4-second lead over Chase. We'll have to see where we can find these guys on track. And how far have they lapped up? There is Coxie. Looks like he is starting to reel in Bechtel, so that would be lapping all the way up to the number 4 spot. Yeah, it looks like Neon having a few mistakes, sliding out 6 seconds off the lead. This is huge for the points championship as we head into the final round for Coxie. He needed the main event win, but it does not look like Chase is going to make it easy. Closing that back into about a 1.5 seconds. Almost a 3-second difference on that last lap. Coxie also picking up 1 more second a cut, now at 4 seconds. The gap now only 0.65. Coxie needs to keep on the gas here as we have 2 laps to go. Chase trying to put that Cold Hearts KTM at the top step of the podium. White flag is out. 0.2 second difference. Coxie needs to put an absolute burner down here to get away from Chase, as we see 0.1 on the standings. Coxie letting it all hang out here, trying to grab his first main event win here in the SIRL Supercross season. Still hitting his lines clean there. Looks like Chase now has closed the gap and has 0.4 on Coxie. Chase having to go wide, getting tangled up a little bit with Bechtel, who is actually sitting in 6th. Seawalk letting his teammate Coxie go by. Seawalk makes a little bit of a mistake. Coxie's going to come across the line here in first place. Does he have enough to beat Chase? Oh, Chase is going to grab the overall win over Coxie. Unfortunately, with the 4 seconds of cuts, is not going to be a great finish for Coxie. He is still going to grab those much needed points over his championship rival Neon there, as we are waiting to see where Caden and Portman are. I said 40 seconds back. These guys absolutely flying here tonight. There is Caden on that AEO canvas. Bit of a mistake in the heat race. Had to go to the LCQ. Gets it done. Moves his way into the number 4 spot. Seen a few of the riders come through. Dizzle. There is Portman going to be in the number 5. Great ride for some of those AEO canvas guys. But as we run through the list, Chase on that Cold Hearts getting it done tonight. Kept the gap close enough to Coxie that cuts hurt him there. So Chase on that Cold Hearts KTM taking the number 1 spot. Coxie on that Normsco SPX KTM in number 2. Neon in the number 3 spot, Caden on that AEO canvas in 4th, Portman, his teammate, in 5th, Bechtel on that Slebco CDS K9, Husqvarna in 6th position, Reed in the Finesco in 7th, D-Max on the Bark Bros, great ride for him, in 8th, Cloud made his way up into the number 9 spot, Coltrane on the AEO canvas in 10th, Ben in 11th, guy that we saw actually win the LCQ, came back, had a great ride. Ford Shot in 12th. That is Chase's teammate there on that Cold Hearts team. Shim, RMX. Big shout out to Shim, always hanging out in the chat with us. But great ride for him in that 13th spot. Dizzle on the AOMX PPFS FXR. Husqvarna in 14th. Joman on that Normsco in 15th. Seawalk on his teammate in 16th. Wedo on that MRM in 17th. AC Austin Crank on that PPFS in 18th. Gurn, the SMXC in 19th. And unfortunately, Lochi, Pax, and Prada not finishing out the race. But absolutely fantastic racing from these guys. Chase, Coxie, Neon, if you guys are around, make sure you guys jump into the podium section to grab some interviews. Would love to kind of pick your brain, see how the track was, how the race went. I know most of y'all already got it, but there is the Discord link. Make sure you guys jump in there. Go ahead and kick it on back to the booth here for just a second. Get a few things set up here. Yeah, big shout out to you, Crack. Probably, I think Crack may have been my first sub. It's very possible. I'd have to go back and check. Maybe Dean got you on that, but yeah, big shout out to you guys for always supporting. Hey, Mr. Cog saying Booth is bussin'. Hey, man, it wouldn't look as good if I didn't know you. Big shout out to the guys at Normsco, especially Mr. Cognizant over there helping me get the booth dialed in, getting it looking professional. I said we got the Denver skyline and Denver Stadium behind us. That's crazy, Cog. All right. Looks like we got Chase already hanging out in here. Usually like to start with third. So if anybody sees or knows Neon, get him on over here. Not, let's get Coxie into the booth as well. Cog, tell that man to get in here. You, the podium. Neon sipping tea. Chase, don't worry, I'm not forgetting about you. I know you're sitting up there. Like to make my way from third up, but all right. Looks like we got two guys hanging out already, so let's go ahead and bring on Coxie. He is going to continue to hold on to that championship lead moving into round 17, take second place on the night. What is going on, Coxie?
Dude, I'm a little gutted right now, bro. We had the win in the back. I mean, we won technically, but we had the cuts because that stupid corner by the start, man.
I was wondering where you kept getting it. Every once in a while, I'd glance over and see that your cuts went up just by one. And I figured it was that little pillar.
Dude, it was that track, man. That corner sucks so bad, especially on these new bikes. But whatever. We messed up, so we'll take it on the chin.
Yeah,
Just
hey
move on
man.
to next week.
Hey, you came in, you did what you wanted to accomplish, which was beating Neon. Obviously, as the rounds continue and we only have one more to go, every point is going to matter as we come into round 17 for Salt Lake City. Kind of take us through that main event though. Kind of got out to an early lead, was riding clean. I mean, how was the E-Road? How did the track kind of develop?
As far as E-Road goes, I think it was better than usual tonight. Yeah, I got a good start for once and kind of just rode my own race. I actually played the game for more than 4 hours this week too, so I think that helped a little bit.
Yeah, most definitely getting that seat time and able to put some laps in. One thing I did want to comment though, so you chose to just wheel tap and triple through the whoops. You were the only one doing that. What inspired that line?
I don't know. I was hitting it all day and catching a lot of dudes through there, and I don't know. It felt a little bit more consistent to me because the middle line, like I was getting a lot of swap when I was trying to hit it in practice. So, I mean, I was hitting the harder line, I would say, but it felt more comfortable to me, honestly.
Yeah, I was kind of making comments early on in the heat race that it looked like it was the most consistent, but it may not have been the fastest. But man, you were making it look so easy. I don't think you may have had one little bobble through there, whereas a couple of the other guys, Neon, Chase, they had a few crashes actually coming towards the end of the whoops. You were the only guy that didn't. But
Yeah.
But once again, big shout out to you taking that number 2 spot, continuing to be that red plate holder heading into the final round, round 17, Salt Lake City. Once again, man, congratulations. And anybody you'd like to thank?
For sure. Thanks to the man Splash for the suspension today, because that shit was hitting different. I'm not gonna lie. Got me through the race pretty consistent. It felt really good this week. So shout out to him, and of course all the boys over at Normsco, day in day in out. Family.
Awesome, man. Yeah, no, most definitely those guys, Normsco, Splash, always cooking, whether it be bikes, gear, or suspension. So big shout out to those guys. Other than that, man, once again, big congratulations on that number 2 spot, and we hope to see you up here next week, man.
For sure. Yeah, shout out to Chase for the win too.
Yeah,
Got to
most
beat this
definitely.
dude one day.
I was gonna say we're about to get his 2 cents. So
For sure, bro.
Awesome, brother. Well, have a great night, man.
Yep. Talk to you later. Peace.
Yep. See you. All right. Always great seeing Coxie, the teammate, up here on the podium. Like I said, great ride from him. Unfortunately, Cuts sold him that number 1 spot, taking the overall. But to that, the man taking the number 1 spot away from Coxie, the man Chase. Big shout out to the man Chase. Rode strong, had some adversity to overcome, but was able to make it into that number 1 spot. What is going on, brother?
Going on, man?
Good to see
Hold
you
it
up
out
here.
towards the end.
Although I gotta say, you took the win, but it was on a KTM.
Yeah, I know. Dude. I'm disappointed in myself, really. Honestly, more than anything.
No,
Honestly,
I mean,
this season, I just wanted to see what I can do on the meta bike during SMX, and that went well. So we're gonna
unfortunately,
keep her going here on the meta bike. Not on the T50s though.
Okay.
Those fools, I'm gonna keep rocking whatever I'm rocking. I'm gonna be rocking the Fantic T50 tomorrow for MXL.
Ooh.
Getting after it.
I'm
Seeing
excited
what we
to
can
see
do.
it. Yeah, no, man. It's so hard to steer away from the KTM's. Like they're just the best bike by far. I mean, I think handling wise, suspension wise, and then just the power is there. But obviously was able to get it done. Take us through that last main event there. I mean, got through the heat race, I believe pretty clean. You were kind of gone. But the main event had some adversity, had a few mistakes, had a couple battles there with Neon, and actually made the charge all the way up to the number 1 spot. So take us through it a bit.
Oh yeah. Before that though, I was gonna say the Husky honestly is the best bike by a mile. It has way better traction than the KTM, and the suspension's a lot more forgiving.
Really?
But it's so bad in E-road, like unbelievably bad. It's really weird. if you watch like my stream, Lynn's stream, like everybody on different setups, the front end in the real deep E road starts to like twitch back and forth, and it's really weird. And it's hard to ride when the front end's already pogoing from all of our leaning forward, and then it's
Interesting.
twitching. So the
Interesting.
KTM is honestly worse, like speed wise, but in the deep E road, it's way better. Because I was struggling hard at DDC round one on the Husky. As soon as that like latter half
Hmm.
of Moto 2 came about, I was not crashing, but like making mistakes left and right, like losing like 2 seconds a lap to all these mistakes. So that's why I went to the KTM. But if you're
Yeah.
going for just hot laps, Husky is the best for sure.
Interesting. Yeah, I think I feel like everybody's so stuck on the KTM, but that's a good point. I mean, how was the E-Road tonight? I mean, Coxie said it was not bad at all. Probably some of the best E-Road we've had all season. What was your take on that?
Yeah, I really liked it today, honestly. The only sections were weird is the little tiny piddly ruts, because Stone likes to build a crevice in the ground rather than a rut. So, like, after the sand section and that table, that rut was getting a little chalked, and then the S turns were a little bit screwed up. I went outside in the first one, so I didn't mess up that first one, because I was nervous I was gonna, like, bounce out of it or something and miss it.
Well, I mean,
But
your lap times showed that you were making it up elsewhere then, because if that inside was the main line, your lap times were right on par with Coxie and Neon. Uh, but man, you were absolutely flying. Did you know that Coxie had those cuts?
oh yeah, I was watching my max ed the whole time, and as much as I hate to say it, the cuts are like a part of my plan, honestly.
Okay.
Like I kept doing in the heat race what he just did in the main. I got like 5 seconds of cuts from that stupid pylon turn. And in the main I made sure to like not cross jump, and a couple of times I like straight aired it into the tough blocks, like on the left side instead of hitting that pylon, just so I didn't get cuts. Like I
Interesting.
made
So
extra careful there
a
to
bit of
like
a
if I even had a shred of thought I was gonna cross jump, I just slowed down or turn left. One of those two.
interesting. A little bit of game plan coming into that main event, was hoping that these other guys were going to have some cuts. It's a
Yeah.
it's an interesting one. Yeah, no, Coxie unfortunately had about 4 seconds. That white flag came out. We were seeing that gap was, it was very minuscule, under a couple tenths of a second. And that final lap, you put the charge in, caught him, made up another second or so. Um, but no, man, that fantastic ride. Um, who would you like to thank for tonight's performance?
I honestly couldn't tell you why I put the burners on the last two laps. It just kind of happened. I don't know where that was like the entire race. That would have been nice if I was to run that pace actually in the majority of the moto and not just like the last two laps trying to catch up. But no, the cold hearts guys sticking through and through, the usual CBS suspension, all that good stuff. Freaking you guys for hosting as well. Great commentary, all that good stuff.
Yeah,
Shout
appreciate
out to Neon and Coxie too for a good race. They were keeping me on my toes the whole time.
it. I was gonna say, you guys were. I was watching lap times, and I mean, you guys were less than a second apart almost every single lap. I mean, it was
Yeah,
one mistake, and you were gonna fall back. And we saw even with Caden. I mean, you guys had 45 seconds on the rest of the pack, and lapped
yeah.
all the way up to sixth.
Oh
I mean,
yeah. Also, other shout out to Pax that was actually in that race on Sure Visuals. He called out to me that Coxie was doing that triple triple line to the whoops, so I stole that and started using it.
uh, yeah, I was
So
saying,
big shout out to him.
I never saw you do it. I saw you still blitzing, but yeah, that triple line, we
Yeah,
saw Coxie doing it pretty much all day, and it was consistent and it was fast.
yeah. That's why I just randomly stole it in the middle of the moto,
Got
even though the outside was fine.
a
Because
little
Pax
insider
got that
trading.
call out. Yeah, gave me that elite call out, so I just yoinked that line. That main event when I took it, that was the first time I ever took that line. So I was just praying to God I didn't endo or something.
I was gonna say that wheel tap. Anytime you're wheel tapping into something like that, you're just waiting for the thing to kick you forward.
Yeah,
But obviously it worked. You closed the gap in. I would say made the pass, but it was really just a matter of cuts.
Yep. Technicality. Sucks to win like that, but
Well, hey
it
man,
is what it
it's the
is.
game. I mean, you stayed in it and it showed. But outside of that, man, like I said, big shout out to you, big congratulations. Are we gonna see you next week trying to be another spoiler in this championship?
Dude, I don't know about spoiler in the championship. I've done 5 races this whole season,
Oh, hey, who
but
knows? Maybe pressure will do a times 10 points for you.
yeah, I've been too busy with my real life riding. I just got a gas 125 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, okay.
Been ripping that, so I've been missing a bunch of SIRL and stuff.
I was riding today as well. Got back home in
Oh yeah,
time.
oh yeah. But hopefully, I'll see you back tomorrow during the MXL
I was
on the
gonna say
Fancy
that.
250 this time, and not the Metabike.
Yeah, I was gonna say that MXL class is an absolutely stacked class. So
Oh
um,
yeah,
definitely always a good one to watch. And like I said, with you out there on who knows what, it's always great to see. But once again, man, always a pleasure having you up on the booth. Once again, big congratulations on that #1 spot tonight. And like I said, hopefully we'll see you next week, and we'll see you tomorrow, man.
oh yeah. Catch you later.
Yep. Peace out. Awesome. Like I said, always great to have Chase on that Cold Hearts team up here on the podium. Great guy. Absolutely Barker. He is probably one of the fastest, smoothest, cleanest guys I see on this game. So big shout out to Chase there. Like I said, also having Coxie hanging out here in the booth with us. Not only is he my teammate, team owner as well, or co-team owner, and then SPX with Splash. Those guys, unbelievable people. Like I said, they do the world for me and the rest of the MX Bikes community. Outside of that, would like to thank everybody for hanging out with us. Like I said, if you guys aren't following, make sure you hit that follow button. Get those notifications when we're going live. I said every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. As we sit right now, we are streaming. Hopefully going to be expanding that here in the very near future. Going to be grabbing a couple bigger series as we get into the Supercross season. So make sure you guys are following along. If you guys are tired of ads, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you got the Prime, make sure you send that my way. Like I said, don't want to be mid-moto and get those ads. Outside of that, like I said, big shout out to you guys. Big shout out to the SIRL crew. Pressure over there running a fantastic show. Like I said, those guys, they pour their hearts out every Sunday night to make sure we have a great race. And honestly, it's so far so good. I haven't seen any issues with these guys. Yeah, no server issues tonight, man. That's always a bonus. Unfortunately, sometimes you're at the mercy of these servers. But like I said, Pressure has always been able to overcome a lot of that and gives us a fantastic series to ride. Outside of that, guys, like I said, if you guys looking for anything tomorrow, make sure you guys are hanging out with us for the MXL Pro Night. Those guys are always flying. I don't know what it is, but they draw so many fast people. So make sure you guys are hanging out with us tomorrow. Like I said, Tuesday nights, that TPR OCE, and Wednesday nights, the MXL AM class. Outside of that, guys, I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday night, and we will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.